Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the English Cast. I'm Ryan, and I am really happy to be sitting here with you all today. It is a quiet, peaceful morning here, and I have my coffee ready. I am feeling settled and ready to have a good chat.
Hey everyone, I'm Emma. It is great to be here with you. Whether you are listening on your morning commute, taking a walk, or just relaxing at home, we are here to help you feel a little more comfortable and natural with your English. We want this to be a space where you can relax and learn at your own pace.
So, Emma, today we are going to talk about something that makes a lot of people nervous. It is something that even native speakers struggle with sometimes. We are talking about small talk. I have to admit, I used to think small talk was a bit of a waste of time. I used to think, why are we talking about the weather? Let's talk about something real. But over the years, I have realized that it is actually the bridge that connects strangers.
That is such a good way to put it, Ryan. It really is a bridge. It is not about the topic itself. It is about signaling to the other person that you are friendly, open, and safe to talk to. But I know for many learners, standing in an elevator with a colleague or meeting someone at a party feels incredibly stressful. They worry about the silence. They worry about saying the wrong thing. So today, we want to give you a simple framework to make sure you never run out of things to say.
Exactly. We want to take that pressure off your shoulders. The best way to do this is to use a method that native speakers use all the time without even realizing it. It is called the F.O.R.D method. That stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. If you keep these four categories in your mind, you always have a mental map for the conversation. You never have to feel lost.
I love the F.O.R.D method because it gives you a safety net. It organizes your thoughts. Let's look at the first letter, F for family. Now, you have to be careful here. You don't want to get too personal too quickly. Asking a stranger, "Why aren't you married?" or "How much money does your father make?" is definitely too aggressive. You want to keep it light and general.
Right. You need to read the room. A great way to start is by asking about their location or their roots. You might simply ask, "Do you have family around here?" Or, "Did you grow up in this city?" These are safe, gentle questions. If they say yes, they might mention their parents living nearby. If they say no, they might tell you where they are actually from. Either way, you have started a conversation without being intrusive.
Intrusive is the key word there. We want to avoid crossing boundaries. Another easy question for the family category, especially if you know they have children, is just, "How are the kids doing?" It shows you remember them and you care. Or if it is near a holiday, you can ask, "Do you have any family plans for the weekend?" It invites them to share a story, which keeps the chat flowing naturally.
Let's actually try a quick example of this, Emma. Let's pretend we just met at a conference or a coffee shop. I'll start. So, Emma, are you originally from around here?
Actually, no. I grew up in a smaller town about 2 hours north of here, but I moved to the city for university. My parents still live in that small town, though.
Oh, that's nice. Do you get to visit them often?
I try to go back once a month. It is nice to get out of the busy city and see the family.
See how easy that was? I just asked about her location, she gave me a little bit of information, and I asked a follow-up question. I didn't ask anything too deep, but we established a connection.
Exactly. And notice that you used simple verbs like, "Do you get to visit?" You don't need complex grammar to be a good conversationalist. Often, the simplest questions are the most effective because they are easy to answer. Now, let's move to the second letter, O for occupation. This is usually the most common topic, especially in business settings. But simply asking, "What is your job?" can sometimes sound a bit like a police interview. We want to soften it.
We definitely want to soften it. It can feel a bit transactional if you are too direct. Instead of "What is your job?" try asking, "What keeps you busy these days?" I love this phrase because it is open. It allows the person to talk about their work, their studies, or even a personal project they are working on at home. It gives them the freedom to choose what they want to discuss. It puts the control in their hands.
That is a great phrase. What keeps you busy? It sounds very natural and modern. Or if you already know where they work, you can just ask, "How long have you been working there?" This often leads to them telling you about their history or their previous jobs. And once they answer, try to stay on that topic for a moment. Don't just jump to the next question immediately.
That is a really important point, Emma. Deepening the conversation is better than widening it. If they say, "I am a software engineer," don't just say "cool" and change the subject. You can say, "Oh, wow, that sounds challenging. What are you working on at the moment?" By asking follow-up questions, you show genuine interest. You make them feel like their life is interesting to you. That feeling of being listened to is what builds the connection.
And don't forget the phrase, "How did you get into that?" This is a fantastic question to keep in your pocket. It asks for their origin story. People usually love talking about how they started their career or found their passion. It almost always leads to a very natural, easy discussion about their past, their education, or their lucky breaks.
"How did you get into that?" is magic. I use it all the time, even with people I have known for a while. It works because everyone likes to tell their own story. It makes them the hero of the conversation.
Let's try a quick role play for this one, too. Ryan, imagine we are at a networking event.
Okay, so Emma, what keeps you busy these days?
Well, mostly, I am working on my podcast and doing some teaching. It has been a really busy few months.
That sounds exciting. How did you get into podcasting?
It's a funny story, actually. I used to listen to the radio all the time as a kid, and I always wanted to create my own show. So one day, I just bought a microphone and started recording.
That is amazing. See, by asking, "How did you get into that?" I unlocked a personal story about her childhood. Now, we are not just talking about work. We are talking about dreams and memories.
Which leads us perfectly to the next letter, R for recreation. This is my favorite category because this is where people really light up. Recreation just means hobbies, fun, or free time. When you ask someone about what they do for fun, their energy usually changes completely. Their eyes get a bit brighter.
It really does. Work can be stressful, but recreation is about passion. A simple way to ask this is, "What do you do for fun outside of work?" Or, since the weekend is often on our minds, you can ask, "Do you have any exciting plans for the weekend?" It sounds simple, but it works. If they say, "I am going hiking," suddenly you have a connection. You can ask, "Oh, I love hiking. Where do you usually go?"
And if you want to be a bit more specific, you can mention media or entertainment. Have you seen any good movies lately? Or, are you watching any good series at the moment? These are low pressure questions. Everyone watches or reads something. If they say no, they might say, "I prefer reading." And boom, now you are talking about books. You are just looking for that common ground.
Common ground is the goal. We are just looking for things we share. And remember, you don't have to be an expert in their hobby. If someone tells me they love golf, I don't know anything about golf. But I can say, that requires a lot of patience, doesn't it? Or, how long have you been playing? You can keep the conversation going just by being curious about their experience, not the technical details.
That is a relief for many learners. You don't need to know the vocabulary for every hobby in the world. You just need to be interested in the person. I remember once I spoke to a man who collected stamps. I know nothing about stamps, but I asked him, "What is the most valuable stamp you have found?" He talked for 10 minutes, and I just listened and smiled.
That is great. You made him feel like an expert. Now, let's talk about the final letter, D for dreams. Now, don't worry, this doesn't mean asking, what is your deepest fear? Or, what is the meaning of life? At the bus stop, that would be a bit too intense. In small talk, dreams usually just refers to travel plans, future projects, or things they're looking forward to.
Right. It is about the near future. A perfect question is, do you have any trips coming up? Everyone loves talking about vacations. Even if they don't have a trip booked, they might say, "No, but I have always wanted to go to Japan." And there you go. Now you are talking about Japan, food, and culture. It takes you away from the boring, everyday topics and into something exciting.
Looking forward to is a key phrase here. You can ask, is there anything you were looking forward to this year? Maybe they're getting married, buying a house, or just waiting for the summer weather. This question invites positive energy into the conversation. It creates a good vibe between you and the other person. People will remember that you made them feel good.
And it shifts the focus from the past to the future. It is very optimistic. So, we have family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. F.O.R.D. If you ever feel stuck, just mentally go through these letters. Have I asked about their work? Have I asked about their weekend? It stops your mind from going blank.
But Emma, what happens if I ask the question, they answer, and then silence? That is the moment people fear the most. There is another technique that is super simple, specifically for when you are listening. It is called the echo technique.
The echo technique. This is a lifesaver. Sometimes you don't need to ask a new question. You just need to listen and repeat the keyword. This is perfect for when you are feeling tired or you just can't think of what to say next. It keeps the conversation moving without you having to do any heavy lifting.
Let's demonstrate this so our listeners can hear how natural it sounds. I want you to tell me about something you did recently, Emma, and I will only use the echo technique.
Okay, well, yesterday I finally went to that new Italian restaurant downtown.
The new Italian restaurant?
Yes! It was incredibly busy, but the pasta was homemade and absolutely delicious.
Homemade pasta?
It was. They make it fresh every morning right in the window. It actually reminded me of my trip to Rome last year.
A trip to Rome?
Yes, I went there for 2 weeks with my sister. It was one of the best experiences of my life.
See what happened there? I didn't add any new information. I didn't ask a complex question. I just repeated the key phrase. The Italian restaurant? Homemade pasta? A trip to Rome? With a rising intonation.
And it worked perfectly. It encouraged me to keep talking. It showed me that you were listening, but you didn't have to work hard to think of the next sentence. You just acted like a mirror.
It gives you, the learner, a moment to breathe and relax. You don't always have to drive the car. Sometimes you can just be the passenger and let the other person steer the conversation. It takes the pressure off. And honestly, People love talking about themselves. If you just give them little nudges with the echo technique, they will think you are a great conversationalist.
So we have the Ford method to start topics, and the echo technique to keep them going. But there is one more thing that learners worry about: how to end the conversation. This is actually a big source of anxiety. You don't want to just walk away rudely, but you also don't want to be trapped talking forever. You need a graceful exit strategy.
A graceful exit. I like that. The secret is to use a transition phrase before you say goodbye. You need to signal that you are leaving. You can't just stop talking and walk away. A very polite and common phrase is, "Well, it was great catching up with you, but I should probably get going." Notice the phrase catching up. It implies that the conversation was nice and valuable.
I should probably get going is very natural. It sounds soft and polite. It means I have things to do, but it isn't aggressive. Or if you are at work, you can say, I better get back to work before my boss notices. Adding a little joke makes it light and friendly.
Another good one is, "I don't want to keep you." This is very polite. It suggests that you are ending the conversation out of respect for their time, not because you are bored. It flips the situation to make it look like you are being considerate.
I don't want to keep you. That is a classic. It makes the other person feel important. And after you say that, you just need a simple closing. Enjoy the rest of your day, or have a good weekend. And that is it. You have successfully navigated the entire interaction.
Let's try to put it all together in one quick scenario. Emma, let's pretend we ran into each other at the grocery store. We talk for a minute, and then I need to leave.
Okay, sure. So, yeah, I have just been really busy with the garden lately.
The garden?
Yes, planting tomatoes and herbs for the summer.
That sounds lovely. Well, Emma, I don't want to keep you from your shopping, but it was really nice seeing you.
You too, Ryan. Good luck with your week.
Thanks, you too. See you later.
That felt very complete. You used the echo technique on the garden, and then you used the exit strategy, I don't want to keep you. It was smooth and friendly.
And the more you practice this structure, the more automatic it becomes. You won't have to think, okay, now I will ask about recreation. You will just naturally say, "Seen any good movies?" It becomes a habit. And that is when your confidence really starts to grow. You stop thinking about the mechanics of the language and you start connecting with the human being in front of you.
Exactly. And I want to remind everyone listening that small talk doesn't have to be perfect. If you stumble on a word, or if there is a short silence, it is okay. Silence is normal. It happens to everyone, even us. You can just smile and ask another question from your list. The other person is likely just as happy to have someone friendly to talk to. They are not judging your grammar. They are enjoying your company.
That is a great perspective. We often judge ourselves much more harshly than anyone else does. So, here is a little challenge for everyone. The next time you are getting a coffee or waiting for a bus, or logging into a meeting early, try just one of these techniques. Ask someone, "How is your week going?" Or, "Do you have any plans for the weekend?" Just try it once.
Start small. You don't have to have a 10-minute conversation. A 30-second interaction is a win. Each time you do it, you are proving to yourself that you are an English speaker who can connect with others. You are building evidence that you can do this, and that feeling of connection is what learning a language is all about. It is about opening doors to new people and new experiences.
It really is. We hope this framework gives you the tools you need to step into your next conversation with a smile, not with fear. You have the Ford method, you have the echo technique, and you know how to say goodbye politely. You are ready.
You are definitely ready. We are so proud of the work you are putting in. Learning these social skills is just as important as learning grammar, and you are doing a fantastic job. Just keep taking those small steps.
That brings us to the end of today's episode. We hope this conversation helped you see English a little more clearly and a little more naturally.
Thanks for spending your time with us. Keep practicing, stay curious, and remember our motto: learn, speak, connect. We will see you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone.